25 electricity utilities from around the world, operating in both developing and developed countries, and who represent 10% of global electricity sales, have come together to form the Global Electricity Initiative, also known as the GEI. This initiative was formed as a contribution to the 17th Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and the 7th session of the Conference of the Parties, serving as the meeting of the parties to the Kyoto Protocol. The goal of the GEI is to present the global best practices that electricity utilities have put into place to address climate change and sustainability. By understanding what the most effective solutions have been and how these have been implemented, electricity utilities are faced with an increasing number of challenges, often with conflicting priorities. Providing electricity access, competition, technological advancement, stakeholder expectations, obtaining financing, and investment decisions in evolving regulatory context are just a few of the issues that are being dealt with aside from climate change. These factors are compounded by the long time frames that these issues need in order to be resolved, and utilities have to deal with the uncertainties that arise. The objective of the GEI is to highlight the significant contribution that progressive electricity utilities can make, and will show that early action is being taken and progress is being made on the ground, while the international negotiations continue. The premise of this initiative is that clean electricity is a fundamental solution to the challenge of climate change. This includes deploying existing solutions and working together to develop new technologies and embed global best practice. The GEI aims to use the collective information from the 25 participating utilities to highlight the concerted effort that is being made to achieve economically efficient and environmentally effective solutions to climate change. 9 key trends have emerged from the report. Changing landscape of stakeholder expectations. Customers are demanding access to affordable energy and lower carbon and carbon-free energy. Incentives are offered to customers to encourage energy efficiency. Of the 77% of GEI utilities who responded, half of them say customers are not willing to pay a premium for lower carbon energy, but the market is growing. Industry regulation and tariffs under pressure. 78% of the GEI utilities operate in environments with a combination of market-related and fixed tariffs, with governments controlling tariffs surrounding renewable energy. Governments have provided support in the form of incentives. Cost is one of the most important factors driving investment decisions. 56% of the GEI utilities believe that it is economically viable to supply certain lower carbon and carbon-free energy without need of direct support. Fully or partially unregulated utilities are facing pressures on prices from regulators and society as a whole, which makes it harder to pass the full value of carbon emissions to the customer. Climate change-related regulation and policy. The industry landscape has changed with issues such as more complex stakeholder expectations, greater attention to environmental impacts, increasing competition, challenging economic conditions, and limited availability of financing. The chart represents the regulation governing the energy mix and specific climate change regulation, such as emission reductions and energy efficiency regulation. Of the GEI utilities, 46% operate in countries which have a regulatory framework for climate change in their country of operation. 46% of GEI respondents have regulation requiring the inclusion of carbon-free energy in their energy mix. 54% of GEI utilities operate in countries which have a regulated requirement for implementation of energy efficiency programs. Regulatory and policy environments are changing to enable the use of more carbon-free and lower carbon energy. However, policies and regulations are often uncoordinated. GEI utilities are members of various climate change organizations, reflecting their commitment to climate change. Changing the energy mix to meet global demand. The demand for electricity is growing at a rapid rate, and it is being estimated that demand for energy will increase by 50% in the next 30 years. Utilities are expected to meet the growing energy demand using a larger proportion of carbon-free and lower carbon technologies and in a sustainable manner. Energy mix of the GEI utilities is made up of 20% renewables, 30% nuclear, 15% gas, 29% coal, and 6% other sources. The changing carbon footprint. Climate change strategies of the GEI utilities are aimed at reducing the carbon footprint. 77% of GEI utilities have conducted carbon emission measurements using various methodologies in the 2010-2011 period. Cumulatively, savings of approximately 453 million tons of carbon dioxide have been recorded by 30% of the GEI utilities in the last 5 years. Increased investments in technology and research and development. Technology must play a significant role in the move towards cleaner electricity and in addressing transmission and distribution losses and enable demand-side management. Investments of over $700 million have been made in carbon-free and lower carbon technologies in the last 5 years. 23% of GEI utilities report spending upwards of $50 million on climate change-related research and development projects in the last 5 years. Some of the utilities are involved in demonstration projects on leading-edge energy efficiency technologies, such as smart grids. The GEI utilities are also involved in electricity generation demonstration projects. Internal and external energy efficiency is a key priority. 85% of the GEI utilities have energy efficiency targets that are either voluntarily set, mandated by regulation, or are requirements from funders, and 100% of GEI utilities who responded have initiated internal energy efficiency programs. For external energy efficiency, customer and shareholders' expectations are key drivers of energy efficiency, along with security of supply, and 44% of GEI utilities also rank regulatory compliance as the main driver for investing in energy efficiency. The GEI utilities have instituted employee energy efficiency programs. For example, where employees have received free CFL globes to trade for their existing globes, and testing of electric vehicles by employees. 70% of the GEI utilities have also instituted educational programs to encourage awareness of energy efficiency and its impact on the environment. GEI utilities have already made savings from internal and external energy efficiency programs. For example, since January 2008, one utility has saved 609.3 gigawatt-hours through all their energy efficiency programs. Other savings that have been reported by the utilities are 277.6 megawatt capacity not required, saving of 0.754 gigawatt-hours. Many of the utilities also have defined future aspirations, with one utility targeting energy savings of 3,000 megawatts in the next 6 years, with plans to extend this to 8,000 megawatts by 2025. Another utility is targeting a reduction in customer energy consumption by 2,500 gigawatt-hours and peak demand by 2,100 megawatts by 2013. Adaptation for a changing future. GEI utilities have undertaken adaptation initiatives which entail taking the right measures to reduce the negative effects of climate change or exploit the positive ones. While adaptation is the main focus for 33% of GEI utilities, almost all the utilities report that they incorporate it into their strategy. 85% of GEI utilities are participating in adaptation activities. Initiatives that they have undertaken include infrastructure adaptation to prepare the utility operation for adverse weather conditions. The need for electrification. Only 49% of the world's population had access to electricity in 1970. By 2002, this has increased to 74%. The electrification rates of the countries in which the GEI operates ranges from 30% to 100%. Regional variations are therefore wide. Southern Africa at 28%, South Africa in particular, along with developing countries, and India at 75%. The overall world at 81%, Latin America at 93%, China at 99%, and transition economies at 100%. Increasing electrification to the unserviced is affected by a number of issues, such as the type of customer to receive electricity, example, a community, farm or household, relative distance to the national or regional grid, landscape, the availability of natural resources, and energy technologies. Integrating lower carbon technologies into the electrification programs is being investigated by many of the GEI utilities. The GEI utilities have demonstrated implementation of alternative lower carbon, climate resilient technologies and more efficient processes, and use of electricity is already happening across the globe. Significant investment has been and continues to be focused on reducing the climate change impacts of the sector. A global response will continue to be required to overcome the challenges. Whilst it is clear that there has been significant progress, investment and innovation in matters relating to adaptation to and mitigation of climate change by the Global Electricity Initiative and other utilities around the world, more can be done. The participating GEI utilities call for wider collaboration in order to take the sector forward and accelerate efforts to combat climate change and its impacts. Whilst the GEI grouping is important for the presentation of the early action that utilities have put in place, it is imperative that the spirit of real collaboration be extended widely. This collaboration needs to be tailored to the sector's specific needs and designed to enable the sharing of experience, technological expertise, and best practice amongst utilities within both developed and developing countries. There is a need for meaningful collaboration between utilities in order to find practical and implementable alternative approaches and to collectively feed into ongoing discussions under the International Climate Change Convention. The GEI is an example of how electricity utilities can work together to help drive change necessary to improve the business case for a move towards a lower carbon, more resilient sector. We call on other utilities to work together on a global and regional basis to learn from each other, share risks to accelerate change and increase resilience, and identify opportunities for new business models and growth paths while still meeting the need for access to modern energy services and affordability. To download the full report, visit www.globalelectricityinitiative.org.